What's up? Welcome to thctrust.org. This is your brother Sylvester Moore Eel, and it is March 26, 2025, and I am going over the personal status correction menu, which includes all of the steps that I believe are necessary for you to navigate, operate privately, and everything you need to do in this movement. I try to condense it, only including what is necessary. There's a lot of other things that you could do, but these are the critical things that I think is necessary that actually have a specific purpose that you're going to use somewhere in commerce. Not just documents that you do and then you wonder if they work and you don't know how to use them and things like that. That being said, let's continue on with the lesson. If you don't have a membership, create one by just coming to the website thctrust.org and click create an account right here. And then once you have an account, you should be able to log in. And once you log in, you should be able to establish a membership by going to the top of the page, clicking membership plan. And then if you want access to everything on the website, click the membership plan for $225. It's for at least a year, but it could be 2 years, 3 years. It could go on until I close the site down. Excuse me. The $225 membership for a year. So you can click that. And you'll be able to have access to all of the templates under the personal status correction menu. What you see is advanced topics right here. First off, we got to update this because today is March 26th. And we've updated this yesterday, March 25th. Yesterday, we went over what we're just going to call the first step, which was the name and the address correction. And now we're going to go over the second step, which is power of attorney. You know, you can add some other things in here like the trade name and trademark, but when it comes down to what is essential to properly operate, to remain private in commerce, the power of attorney. And you know that the power of attorney is also part of the secured party filing. So I attempted to explain why the power of attorney, the utility of the power of attorney, because I know that a lot of people don't comprehend and understand this. So let's start by saying there was an estate that was created when you were born, right? Let's go look at the power of attorney real quick. And by the way, on this website, you have PDF form and document templates. You can click these and actually look at the template. So let's look at what we have here. Power of attorney. Know all men by these presents that I, the undersigned person of John Alex Doe, that represents the name on the certificate of live birth, 435 Gypsy Lane, Youngstown, Ohio. And then this number right here is your the number for your estate. Everyone has one. Usually this number is found on a certificate of live birth, or you may have to look on a few different certificates to put it together. And as I stated in this other video, they call this, I believe, a birth area code. They define this in the Social Security Administration, so you can look them up and they will define this. These first three codes, these first three digits is going to identify the state. The second two digits is going to identify roundabout the year that you were born. Usually it is the year, sometimes it could be one off. And this last number is assigned by this estate, by the state. So this is the number to your estate. And usually when you don't know anything about any of the stuff that we're studying, this is somewhat of the capacity you're operating as. You're really more or less operating as a surety, but what I'm trying to say is you're not really operating how you should be, which is as a representative for this organization. You're actually acting as the organization itself, and that's how you get caught up in suretyship. So I was very clear, not just using the name. I wanted it to be clear that I'm identifying this administrative estate that was created when I was born, so I put the number there. Filed in Trumbull County, Ohio on May 29th, 1979. All that information you get off your certificate of live birth. It's the principal. And I hereby designate and constitute, appoint John Doe L., whose mailing address is 100 West General Mills Way, Suite G, Private Mailbox 4050, in his capacity as my true lawful attorney in fact. Does everybody see what happened there? The principal, John Alex Doe, with the estate number, he's the principal, designated John Doe L, the agent, in his private capacity as the true lawful attorney in fact. That's important because if you realize this John Doe L would relate to the same name in which we published the nationality, right? It would relate to the same name that uses the private address and doesn't use a public residential address. It's the same name who is basically, that's your private representation. That's your private person. And but I just want to show you this is how we set up the private attorney, the attorney in fact. We want to notarize this document always. And then I want to go back here and just read so we can better understand the power of attorney. The power of attorney creates a bona fide legal record certifying your relationship as an agent for the person. As an agent, you enjoy limited personal liability, and the principal, which is the person, is typically responsible for the agent's actions as long as you, the agent, are operating within the duties of the agency. Think about a public defender or an incompetent attorney that can bind you into suretyship seemingly without any recourse or personal liability. He can do this because he is in an agency relationship with you. He is acting as your agent. He doesn't have the liability, but he can even bind you into contracts with third parties. The power of attorney says that you are not the surety. The attorney and the represented can't be the same. This second identity relates to the private capacity by which you do your business. The private agent with the private address, the non-14th Amendment citizen. The POA, power of attorney, along with the name and the address correction in step 1, delineates your capacity. I'm talking about the legis that you're operating from. It delineates your capacity and keeps you private. Along with the power of attorney, we include an agreement to indemnify the agent. Meaning, if I'm operating as the agent for the administrative estate or for the straw man, as people like to say, then I'm operating with indemnity, even though the agent is using my trade name or my trademark. I'm operating with indemnity because I am not the agent. And this is how, when you get to the secured party creditor filing, right, you're actually, you have a power of attorney because you're operating as the agent for that business entity / business transaction. And you typically have an indemnity agreement because you're also demonstrating that I'm not the surety and I'm indemnified. So I got to be held harmless for all these commercial transactions. And really, you're putting the suretyship, or you're putting the surety in place when you do the secured party filing because you're putting that bond in place. But that's a whole different subject. The purpose of this video was to explain to you how the power of attorney operates. The power of attorney, along with the name, address, in step 1, delineates your capacity and keeps you private. Along with the power of attorney, we include an agreement to indemnify the agent, which adds another layer of protection from personal liability. The POA is a legal document. When you place it in its proper form, it has to be given credit. I personally believe that in some circumstances, when you put the power of attorney on the record, it creates a barrier for someone who wants to operate covertly on your estate without your administration. They want to do it because they say they can take power of attorney over you because you're incompetent, right? When you put a power of attorney on the record and put all persons on notice, they put themselves at risk when they continue to operate in spite of what is documented on the record, if that makes sense. So where does this power of attorney go once you execute it? Well, you put one copy or an original, which is secured party filing. One copy goes to the IRS. One copy would go to the treasurer. If you had business with a county administrator or any type of administration on your estate, you would want the power of attorney to go there. Any type of administration of your estate which requires your signature, you would want to put the power of attorney on that account. Now, how do you sign as an agent? You know, an attorney is an agent. By the way, let me read something real quick. I'm reading in another window. And these definitions that I'm about to read, you can get from the Black's Law Dictionary, Bouvier's Law Dictionary. All persons who are capable of acting for themselves, and even those who are disqualified from acting in their own capacity, if they have sufficient understanding as infants of a proper age, and femmes, coverts, may act as an attorney of others. So they're saying even if you're an infant, these are old definitions, by the way. When they're saying if they have sufficient understanding as an infant of proper age or femme coverts, an infant of proper age, I believe, is like somebody that's 20 or 21 years old, because infants at this time were considered people under the age of 21. They were still in an infant status. I don't know why. That's how they had it back then. This is probably in the early 1800s or something where this definition comes from. Mid 1800s, late 1800s. Excuse me, not early, but mid to late 1800s. This is the Bouvier's Law Dictionary, the one that's online. But what I was trying to point out, it says if they have sufficient understanding, and this is even those who are disqualified from acting in their own capacity, such as infants, and femmes, coverts, women who really had no rights, no say, without a husband. Even they may act as attorneys of others. So that's interesting. They're basically saying what we know now. Anybody can be your attorney in fact. Anybody can. But it's just as much protection, as I was trying to express to you in the last video I did when I was talking about how important it is to do your business privately. It is just important to do your business through an agent. This is how you won't get in trouble. This is how you protect yourself. This is how you move, navigate properly, privately. So, agency relationship. An employment for the purpose of representation, establishing legal relationships between the principal and third persons. That's what an agency relationship does. You want to be the agent because the agent is not assuming the liability. So this is why you're putting you, the living man, on record as the private representative, which is an agent, or an attorney in fact, which is an agent, or just an agent, which is an agent. And also the private address at the commercial mail receiving agency like Staples, Office Max, or whatever. Those are agencies. Okay. And then under the Bouvier's Law Dictionary, they have this certain thing called an agency coupled with interest. You can look it up. I'm just going to read the definition. Interest in continued existence of power or authority to act with reference to business where secured by contract and based on consideration, moving from agent to principal, looking to exercise of power as means of reimbursement, creates agency coupled with interest. Let me read that again. Interest in continued existence of power or authority to act with reference to business where secured by contract and based on consideration, moving from agent to principal, looking to exercise of power as means of reimbursement, creates agency coupled with an interest. A private agent is an agent acting for an individual in his private affairs, as distinguished from a public agent who represents the government in some administrative capacity. And this is what I was looking for. I have it in my notes here. In early American English law, infants were men and women under 21 years old who were disabled by the law, not recognized by persons. Perhaps that could be a black person, right? During the time of this definition. You might have been 20 years old and disabled by the law of nationality, not being citizen. But even you could be a attorney. You could be appointed as one's power of attorney. It's crazy. So this means that anybody can slide in and become your power of attorney without you knowing any better, maybe to some degree. Anyway, that being said, let's finish this up. Again, how do you sign in an agent capacity? This is one way that you would sign as an agent. And this is very important. Those who's doing personal status correction or in this movement, that you protect yourself not only by, you could do without recourse or all rights reserved, but in specific matters, and you would be the one to make the determination when it's necessary. Sign as an agent, and this is how you would do it. You put the principal's name first. In our case, it's John Alex Doe, and then you'll write the attorney in fact's name. And by the way, it's an even stronger position. For example, if my estate is John Alex Doe L, and in my private capacity, I operate as John Doe L. But if my agent or my attorney in fact was Sandra Bay, right? Then it would be John Alex Doe, the principal, by Sandra Bay, agent or attorney in fact, and then you could put your without recourse or whatever. So this is an example of a way that I would probably, let's say, sign a 1040, right? Signing it as the agent, clearly indicating I'm not the principal. And by the way, if you followed along, I have documents to identify who this person is, right? Publication of a nationality. I have an ID with this name on it. And 5 stars. That would be the passport card. But I don't have a driver's license because I don't use that in this capacity. Now, last thing I want to touch on in this video, and although I have Ohio revised codes on the screen, this applies to probably the majority, if not all, of the states, but definitely the majority of the states. And this is, I'll just read it here. Ohio Revised Code Section 147.51, which is also somewhere in your state code, permits notarial acts to be performed outside of Ohio for use within Ohio. Why is this important? Say, for example, you were trying to record an agricultural lien in your county that required a notarization from your county, but you're not in your county. You're on the other side of the world somewhere. Well, you can get a notarization for the purposes of that affidavit needing to be notarized in your county. And you can use it by finding the statute in your state that basically says this same thing. It permits notarial acts to be performed outside of Ohio for use within Ohio. So that means if I need to get something notarized in Trumbull County, Ohio, and I was in California, I can get it notarized in Los Angeles County for Trumbull County, Ohio. So this is one thing that's really important to know as far as your affidavits that you're going to be executing. And then the last thing, which I would recommend, it's not required, and I would recommend it, and I'll tell you why. If you're able to execute these important affidavits, execute your important acknowledgments or affidavits or whatever documents need a notary. If they're important and you have to give multiple people, agencies, or corporations notice, I would use an electronic notary. And I'll tell you why. Well, basically the reason why is because once you originate a document in electronic form, then every electronic copy is an original, right? Let me further qualify that. Every electronic copy potentially has the force and the effect of the original. So, when I execute my power of attorney in front of a notary online in an electronic form. I know it can be used anywhere, but say if I want to put an original on file in some type of county courthouse, well, I'll print out that electronic copy and I'll put an authenticator certificate with it, and then I'll go record it as an original. And you can do that as many times as you need to. When you have that digitally notarized document that was created online, anytime you need to present an original, you just print out the electronic copy and put an authenticator certificate on it. Now, what is an authenticator certificate? Very important. Now, notice if I issued an affidavit, in order for it to be recorded somewhere in any county in the United States, if I issued this affidavit in electronic format, there's going to need to be an authenticator certificate. Anybody can sign the authenticator certificate. You understand that? So, say for example, I'm in the Caribbean and I need to record an affidavit in California. I can execute the affidavit online and get the notary signature online, and then I can call my guy in California and say, hey, I'm about to email you this document. I need you to print it out along with this authenticator certificate and sign it in front of this authenticator certificate and go record it for me. All right? The authenticator is just anybody affirming that this is a true copy of the electronic original document, basically. Now, you can read about this right here. Let's click this and look at this, what it says. And again, I'm just showing you as Ohio as an example, but you'll find this same thing in your state. Give me a second for it to come up. I got to turn my firewall on. Ohio doesn't let you browse its code unless you are within the United States. If you're outside of the United States, they don't even let you look at the Ohio revised code. So I have to put my firewall on just to be able to look at it. Electronic documents. And again, you can find this in your state. As used in this section, electronic documents, electronic seal, electronic signature, and online notarizations have the same meanings. Where we at? A county auditor, engineer, and recorder shall accept a printed document that was executed electronically for the purposes of approval, transfer, and recording if that document contains an attached certificate in the following or substantially similar format. Okay? Anybody can sign this certificate. You're saying, I certify and warrant that the foregoing annexed paper document being presented for record to which this certification is attached represents a true, exact, complete, and unaltered copy of the original electronic document. So I can print out 5 powers of attorneys and take 5 of these, that I executed electronically 2 years ago. And then I can print this out anytime that I need it, print that document out, slap one of these certificates on here, execute it, and go record it. This is what the certificate looks like. Even better, for members of thctrust.org, I've recreated this certificate. You can see it right here. And you could just pretty much download it. This is a PDF. You can download this authenticator certificate for use with your online notaries. So that's all. That's the power of attorney. And it would be good to do it that way because you need to put this power of attorney on record with the 2848 with the IRS for your taxable stuff. And you need this power of attorney in your secure party filing. So that's one place where you might want 2 originals. The online notary. Then see, when you do it online, you don't have to ever worry about losing it. What did I do with the original? It's always in your email. And you can print it out and authenticate it at any given time. That being said, listen, thank you for your time. Thank you for watching the video. I just went over the first 2 steps under this personal status correction menu. There's really only 4. The next video, we're going to talk about the trust aspect of it, the trust that controls the estate. And then lastly, we'll talk about the secured party filing. if you want access to all my documents and templates, go ahead below, make your $225 donation. And of course, when you join the website, when you have full access to the website, you go right here on the right side, go under advanced topics, and when you go to the bottom down here, you see this conference link. You can click that, and that'll throw you in the live Telegram group. And usually when you click that and you jump in the group, I'm already sitting right in there, like real time. I'm in there. So yeah, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Peace.